Angel Reese seems to resent Clark, the one player who might actually turn the WNBA into a profitable league. It's baffling. Clark's rise has brought more eyes, more money, and more opportunity to every player, including Reese. In fact, Reese is more famous and financially successful now than she's ever been, and much of that attention came from her rivalry with Clark. So, what's the logic behind the animosity? Hating the very person who's lifting the entire league, including your own brand, is not just ironic, it's irrational. Clark didn't take anything from Angel Reese. If anything, she gave her a spotlight she might never have earned otherwise. The truth is simple. Without Clark, Angel Reese isn't a household name. She isn't making millions. She isn't a cultural talking point. Like it or not, Clark changed the game, and Reese is just one of many who benefited. Angel Reese believes she's underpaid, even as the WNBA rides a massive wave of attention largely driven by Clark. It's ironic. Reese seems to resent the one player who's not only lifting the league's profile but also boosting her own. By most measures, Reese isn't a top-tier WNBA talent, probably around the 30th best, but thanks to her public rivalry with Clark, she's become one of the most recognizable faces in women's basketball. She's making millions in endorsements off the court. The paradox? Without Clark, Angel Reese might still be unknown to casual fans. For years, male athletes and the NBA have financially supported the WNBA. Some call that patriarchy, others call it reality. And yet, players like Reese often express hostility toward the very structure that sustains their careers. What's missing in this conversation is gratitude. In a world increasingly shaped by identity politics, gratitude has taken a backseat to outrage and self-importance, especially under certain cultural narratives where victimhood is celebrated more than accountability. The idea that Black Americans built this country is frequently repeated, but it's worth considering the numbers. Throughout U.S. history, African Americans have made up only 9 to 20% of the population. That doesn't diminish contributions. It just challenges the totality of the claim. Similarly, the idea that Black women built the WNBA ignores decades of financial losses and outside support, often from sources they claim to oppose. The truth is, American citizenship is a privilege millions across the globe dream of. Yet, some Americans act as if they've inherited a curse, not a blessing. Meanwhile, faith communities, especially white evangelical Christians, often preach unity, de-emphasize race, and focus on merit and morality. That stands in stark contrast to political movements that seem to promote division, prioritize race over character, and reject the very traditions that once held communities together. Anyone still confused by the cultural chaos either fears offending outspoken activists or mistakenly believes that other forms of feminism, whether white or Hispanic, are somehow more productive or less damaging. The reality is, when identity trumps gratitude, everyone loses. Clark speaks to reporters after Indiana Fever practice on WNBA investigation, Game 1 versus Sky.
How much of the success of that game do you look back and still feel like, wow, we left a lot on the table?
Yeah, honestly, we spent a lot of time in the film room today, like close to 2 hours, because I feel like, it's Game 1. Not everything's going to be perfect. I think the thing about film, like you go back, it's never as bad as it seems, it's never as good as it seems. There are still so many areas where we can continue to improve. I think the one thing we did do well is when things, we weren't in the proper coverage, we weren't in the proper help side, we recovered, we made plays for our teammates, we got deflections, we had blocks. If they got O-boards, we had our hands up. So I think we just made plays for each other, and that's positive, but I think we can do a better job initially from the start of certain coverages, especially on defense, and then just getting our offense to flow a little bit better. I think we had some chances to really exploit some mismatches that we were hunting for coming into the game, and we didn't do quite as well of a job. But Game 1, I think that'll continue to get better.
Can you put out a statement saying they're investigating the page to comment if coming from fans towards Scott players? Talk about this in the past, and how it should be an inclusive environment. You want to speak on that?
Yeah, there's no place for that in our game. There's no place for that in society. And, certainly we want every person that comes into our arena, whether player, whether fan, to have a great experience. So I appreciate the league doing that. I appreciate, the Fever organization has been at the forefront of that since, really day one and what they're doing. So we'll, hopefully the investigation, we'll leave that up to them to find anything and take the proper action if so.
Back to the basketball part of it. On the court, how did you feel you all, I guess, maybe got more in sync as the game went on when it came like layups, backdoors, things like that?
Yeah, I think for us it starts on defense. I really do. I think transition offense is where we're going to thrive. I mean, we don't have to play in the half court. Why would we? It starts with getting stops, and we certainly did that. I think we held them to 13 points in the third and the fourth. Like, that's really, really good. It's good. We're going to be able to win a lot of games if we're able to do that, and we're not going to be able to do that every single quarter, but if we're able to piece together a few quarters where they're below 20, that's certainly our goal. So I think it starts there, but I think we just got a better flow. We were hunting mismatches. We were hunting screens for our teammates. I think it's all about setting your teammates up. How can you find them in ways to be successful? And not everybody has the same skills. Some people's strengths are going to be different than others, and I think as a point guard, that's my job, to put them in positions to be successful. And obviously I'm only playing with 4 people I played with last year, so I'm still learning in that regard as well.
What's it like chasing a rebound when you have 20, 10, and 9 on the floor?
Well, I went back into the game to help DB get her into third on the all-time scoring list. If you were watching the game, we were struggling a little bit there to even get her the ball in the half court. So I told Steph, I'm like, let me go in there. It's kind of driving me nuts on the baseline not watching DB get this. Or on the sideline not watching DB get this. So that was the main goal. And honestly, just getting to be on the floor and be a part of that, like, such a historic moment of somebody that has given so much to this game and the league. But also, I mean, yeah, you can just feel the energy from the crowd. Like, they're also just itching for it. And, that's not why you play. But, I feel like that's the part of the game I take a lot of pride in. I want to be able to do a lot of different things for this team. And honestly, when I think I get the ball off of a missed shot, off the rebound, like, I think it's other teams have a really hard time stopping us in transition, and I can just pitch it up to my teammates to find ways to put them in position to score.
Did you personally hear anything inappropriate?
It's super loud in here, although I didn't hear anything. I think, that's why they're doing the investigation. That's why they're looking into it. That doesn't mean nothing happened. So you just trust the league's investigation, and I'm sure they'll do the right thing.
Do you laugh sometimes when you hear people bet on? I mean, people bet on everything, but when you do something and people like, hey, I want. I mean, do you kind of just laugh at that, or how is it
I think
see that?
Yeah, I mean, sports betting is a part of society. Every athlete knows that. Obviously we're not doing it. I don't care if that's what makes the game interesting to people, so be it. I think most of our fans that are in here because they love the game, they love the product. They're not here to see a bet cash, but that's the world we live in. There's nothing bad if that's what somebody enjoys to do. I'm not going to frown upon that for them. So that's not anything I'm too worried about. I'm worried about going out here and playing basketball the correct way.
Before the game, LeBron tweeted the photo and a message. I think that was from when the Lakers were here for the first time. I believe that was your first time meeting. What's that relationship like now as you two Nike athletes are building something special?
Well, I don't really get too starstruck from people, and that was a moment that I was pretty. I knew I was going to meet him when I was coming to the game, and that's one of my idols. LeBron is the GOAT to me, so I don't know, it was just a crazy moment where I got to meet him in the back, and then for him to go out of his way and wish me luck on the season. And he really does follow the WNBA, and he watches, and he loves and appreciates basketball, and he loves and appreciates the way the Fever and my teammates play. And I mean, it's just really cool. I saw that. I didn't see it before the game, but obviously a lot of people had sent it to me after the game. And I was like, oh my gosh, I thought it was kind of fake at first, but he's my favorite player of all time. I mean, you never know in today's world, I guess. I didn't know. I was like, wait, is this actually LeBron James? I knew the picture was real because I knew that was me, but yeah, it was pretty incredible. I don't get too starstruck, but he's one of those people that I did.
With the newcomers that you have, you knew that they would be able to help offensively and defensively. But I want to ask you specifically on defense. What do you guys think you're able to do better this year, especially with adding DB and with adding Natasha, that maybe you weren't able to do as well last year?
Well, I think there's so many things we can do switching wise. I think whether DB's playing the 3, whether the DB's playing the 4, and I've said this previously, I think as the team on the other side of the ball, knowing I've gone against DB, it's a real challenge to know what they're going to do in that position. It's a real challenge to even when we're on offense, how do you guard that too? So there's just so many different things that we can do. But also I think defensively, I think Bree has really challenged our group to be physical, to be up in their space. But also if you're going to be physical, you're going to deny passing lanes, you're going to try to get steals, you're going to jam up handoffs. You have to have help sides. So I think really rotating, helping your teammates. You're never by yourself. You're never playing just one-on-one defense. Maybe you are at the point, but you always have built-in help. So I think they've really challenged us in that way. And like I said, I think that was part of the reason we had success on the defensive end on Saturday, is because I thought we made up for certain mistakes and we had our teammates back.